these off.
Oh, I hate it for you.
Put these back
Oh, put the ones on with no lenses.
Well,
Then you won't have the reflection, but you still look cool. Blippi don't wear lenses in his classes.
But these are broken.
This isn't made for kids either, so.
Well, I guess I can just leave
See?
it like that.
And then you look stylish. Nobody even knows you don't have lenses in there.
No, I can't see anything. I'm as bright as my future.
Cullen had a little break in on his glasses.
From wrestling with the kiddos one day.
Getting them fixed, but for now, that helps. You need to save those so when we make videos, you look cool, but you don't have a glare.
Yes.
How about that? Hey y'all, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome to
the vlog.
Financial Peace University,
This
Part
is
1.
Budget committee meeting number 1 for a while, but we thought we would start off. We said a couple days ago in the vlog that we were gonna talk to you guys about like money and debt and all kinds of stuff. We're just going after the things that you're not supposed to talk about on the internet this year, 2020, whatever.
Starting out right.
It's called DGAF. We're just gonna talk about it.
CYOTF, DGAF. CYOT, DGAF.
Catch you on the don't give a flip side.
Oh!
That works! Oh my gosh, okay, so that's our new motto for the year. Anyways, so if you're like not up to date, we are selling our house. Our house has been on the market. We have taken it off the market and are putting it back on. We are selling our house for a few reasons. We have a whole video explaining the whole thing, but one is a financial reason. One is just in general wanting to downsize. Before the financial stuff was even an issue, it was more just like wanting to downsize.
Yeah.
Space-wise, money-wise, rooms,
Mental.
all of it.
Mental-wise.
Yes.
Emotionally-wise. We jumped into this like really in a bad spot in our mental state.
This house,
yeah,
you mean?
In our relationship, in our minds, and our bodies, and everything like that. And now we are back, ready to attack. And it's like now that we are like fresh and rejuvenated with ourselves, we're like, why are we even here again? Like,
and well, we both read the Marie Kondo, The Joy of Tidying, I don't even remember what it's called now, but we read it, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Oh, and it is life-changing.
Yes.
And people kept saying like, you'll start this and you'll start cleaning out your closets and it's gonna end up being your whole life. And it totally, our whole lives have like totally, we've been through a lot of changes in the past year, life changes, self changes, relationship changes, everything. And we kind of just are like gonna take y'all back and let you know kind of how we got to where we were, because this has not always been our life. This has actually never been our life.
Yeah.
Where we are right now, ever. In the history of our marriage, our lives, our families' lives, everything.
Yeah.
So it's never been where we were. So we want to kind of take y'all back to where we were, how we got there, and we want to take you on the journey of us getting back to where we were, or where we want to be, I guess. Because honestly, I don't want to be back where we were because we didn't know what we know now.
Right.
So,
it's in order to get to this big house and these crazy relationship and emotional and mental issues, we started in a different place.
And financial stuff is a big part of it. So I guess we're just gonna go back to the beginning and kind of tell y'all about it. So when we got married, I don't feel like there's any need to really go before that, because before that I don't know. We got married when we were 2007. So we got married, we got married when we were 24, and I did not have any debt. I'm very fortunate that my parents had savings for my college and all of that, so I didn't have any debt. Your parents had paid for your college. That we were both, I was in grad school, you were not in school at the time, so we didn't have debt as far as
student loans.
Yes.
No student loans.
So we had no student loans. We were very fortunate in that aspect. Neither of us had a car payment. We had both been fortunate that our parents had provided cars for us. We were very fortunate in those areas.
And had a cheap place to rent.
When we got married, one of the reasons that we kind of went ahead and got married when we did is because we knew that we had a place to live. My parents have a garage apartment behind their house, and so they were willing to let us live there and pay them a smaller amount of rent than we would be paying at a real apartment, so that we could save up money. And we took that very seriously, and we did not just blow the money, we saved it.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of debt that you had.
Yes.
Which is kind of my fault.
Yeah, the engagement ring, I was like, oh, I can't spend that much money on an engagement ring, so I'll finance it. And I'll pay it back, no big deal. And
you got the whole like 1 year, no interest thing. And you're like, oh, I'll definitely pay this back in a year.
Yeah, no, that didn't work.
Which I mean, actually I think you ended up paying it back within the year of our first year of marriage because
within our first year
we didn't have other debt and
yeah.
you're able to pay it off because it, you know.
It still sucked because I didn't understand the whole concept. Like I was just ready to get married and have a ring and all this stuff.
And you go in and they're like, oh, we have this great financing plan that's, you know, year, no interest and blah, blah, blah. You also had a little bit of debt in some like taxes or something. I think it was like $2,000 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
So you had,
not knowing what I was doing with taxes and 1099s.
Yeah, that's what it was. You had gotten 1099s and hadn't paid that. I don't know. We didn't know. You didn't know.
We didn't have a clue. They don't teach you that stuff.
They don't.
I mean, it's just crazy.
There was that little bit of debt that we had, and then the ring, I think, was the amount you owed on that was like $5,000 or something like that at the time. So that was our debt at the time. We did have, or I had a credit card that I had been taught growing up, if you have a credit card, you literally use it kind of as a debit card and you always pay it off to zero every month, like no question. It's not there to build up a payment. It's not there to pay for things you don't have money for. It's there so that you like get cash back on your gas, which is usually what I used it for. Yeah. To get cash back on my gas and then
emergencies.
Well, not necessarily. I guess it was more like
that was the mindset.
Well, because I was in school and my parents were still paying for my school stuff, I could make a payment to school if I needed to, and then they would pay me back, and then I'd pay off the credit card with that. So that credit card was literally never ever had a balance on it over a month long. So that's where we kind of started out, and what was it, like maybe a couple months after we got married?
How did we even find Dave Ramsey?
They happened to come to our church. It happened to come to our church, I think, for like the first time.
I thought like I read the book at the beach one time.
Oh, you're right. My parents gave it to you, I
think that's what it was.
For Christmas?
And I was like, what is this? Like a financial, what was it, Total Money Makeover? Like, what? Okay.
It was, it looks like.
And I started to,
I'll show them on.
There it is right there, that guy right there, Dave Ramsey. But we were at the beach and I sat down to start reading it, and this was like before kids, and so you're able to just sit there and listen to the waves, and I literally like got sucked into this book that I physically read.
It's on Audible.
It's on Audible now, but I literally read it in like a day and a half, 2 days or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, you've got to listen to this. I mean, you got to read this, Katie. I was like, I think initially the one that kind of, because of your parents giving us the book, kind of got like, talked you into reading it, and then we were both on board.
Well, because you had the little bit of debt, which to us now is like a little bit of debt, but at the time it was like, we had $7,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Like, we're barely making that much right now. I was in grad school and you were working like a starter job as a, newly married person. So yeah, I forgot about that. I'm glad you reminded me of that. So you kind of started this whole thing, reading the book, got interested in it, and then we heard that the Financial Peace University was coming to our church, and we were like, oh my gosh, no way, this is awesome. And
so we put it on our credit card and we went. I'm just kidding.
Actually, I'm like, did we?
No, I don't think we did, because that's like sacrilegious.
Yes.
Especially at church.
No, you can't do that.
But they came, and it was like a weekly thing.
This is what you get back in the day. This is in 2008.
Oh, look at the back. You get like a whole CD system and everything.
I wonder what it comes with now, because it's no longer, this is
2006. Updated 2006.
It's like a lifetime membership, so we could actually go through it again for free.
Yeah.
So
that was life-changing, but it was life-changing in a sense. It was almost like we weren't still there, I don't think, mentally. We got to a point to where we were like, okay, we've got baby step 1 down, we've got our $1,000 in savings or whatever, and then we got this and that, and
well, you're skipping ahead though.
Oh, sorry.
You're skipping ahead.
Oh, I'm just skipping to like, I guess.
Well, just basically you're saying we didn't go past like step 3. So where we started out, and I think we already had a little bit of money in savings, because I had been taught, like, you put a portion of your check goes to your tithing, to your church, and then a portion of it goes to savings. So we had a little bit of savings. I don't think it took us long to build up. If you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey, baby step 1 is your $1,000 in savings. Don't think that took long at all. And then step 2 is paying off the debt snowball, which we only had 2 things.
Yes.
We had the engagement ring and the taxes.
Yes.
So we started on those, and to start that, we did our envelopes. And it's so funny because just the other day when I was going through cleaning out our closet, a storage closet, if you haven't seen that video, it's on my channel, I found this envelope that we had saved from our old safe that we kept the money in. We had our envelope system.
Look at that, it's got pets.
And is there an amount on there or no?
40, I think.
I think it was.
Plus, yeah, right here, it says 40.
That was plus 40
Plus
when
40.
I had.
But there was also abbreviations. In the top corner, it's DNT for do not touch.
Because we had some that were.
So we would put money in these envelopes and, well, let's just show the envelopes
Okay,
first.
so we had a fun envelope.
We've shown these on a vlog in the past, but this is like a whole...
This was for my hair. Hair envelope. We had birthdays for like when somebody had a birthday. We needed to buy money.
Is there still money in these?
I look, there's still receipts.
Oh.
There's still old receipts. Because we would keep up with the receipts and we would keep track on the back, like what all we had bought with the money that was in there so that we could keep a balance on it without having to open it up and go through. There was miscellaneous, so that was like for Cullen's haircut or if we had something random come up. This is my for Cullen envelope that I would save money for Christmas for him for his birthday. We had groceries. We had gas.
We gotta decorate these too.
We had football, because that's a big deal. And we had another one that was roll tide roll. I don't know why we had a football and a roll tide roll. We probably couldn't find it one day or something. Weddings, we had a lot of friends getting married at the time, so we were always buying wedding gifts for my wife. Cullen made that one. Xmas, we had a Christmas savings one. And I think, oh, and then we had our Oh Snap envelope. So this, you can kind of barely see it, that we kept some money in and we'd put, every time we get paid, say like $20 or something in there, so that if something came up, because there's always those things like, oh snap, I forgot we have this, like so-and-so's retiring and I gotta contribute to the gift, like those types of things. So that was our Oh Snap envelope. And then this, we would go through every time we got paid and write out the budget, and I saved them all. So like I would sit there and write them out. I had my system, so like we're just going to take one and give you an example.
It's kind of like the Every Dollar app, I think.
I don't even know if it's going to show anything on here that we don't want to share, but
you basically get to a zero-based budget. So you start off with a total number at the top.
So like this is how low our income was, and we're about to tell you how much money we saved and all that at the time. So our payment that we received was $560. Then we got groceries that we had to buy and Thanksgiving stuff. The Mrs., I don't know what that is. What was that? Like for my wife, MRS, Mrs. and then Mr. and drawer. I don't know what that means. Miscellaneous, so we put $50 in groceries. I put 10 towards the Mrs., 75 towards miscellaneous, 50 towards gasoline, 150 towards fun and football. You can see where all our money went. 40 towards the birthday envelope, 30 towards pets, 35 towards RTR, 20 for Christmas, 20 for hair. We ended up with $430 cash. So we left some money in the bank to pay bills, but basically it all ended up equaling out at some point the 80. Oh, so it got to 80. Then we took out 50 for GNC for like supplements or whatever, and then the remaining 30 went to savings. So that was it, zero-based budget. And I think actually this top number wasn't the number that we got paid. It was after I had taken out like the bills.
Utilities.
Because it would get direct deposited.
Right.
And then once the utilities were all paid, then this was the number.
I was gonna say, that's a low number for
Yeah, it was. I mean, we weren't making a lot of money at the time. We had already calculated out, you know, rent, power, water.
But that's at $560 that if you don't have that all delegated and designated to a certain envelope, it would have been like, whoa, where did all the money go?
Well, and like there's $20 in here that month, or that, it was a week. I think we did it by the week. This was per week. So 560 was for the week, not for the month. I put $20 in the hair envelope, but I wasn't gonna get my hair done for probably another month. But by the time I got to needing to get my hair done, I just already had the money there.
Took the envelope with you, put it in your purse.
Yes, this is how we did it. This was how we did our Dave Ramsey stuff. I don't have years written on this. Oh, 2008. I mean, we did this for a while with it being literally cash-based. We did that until we felt like we had gotten comfortable using cash, which obviously this was a while. I think it was a couple years. Got the debt snowball paid off. And then the next baby step was getting 3 to 6 months of savings in your savings account. And so I think we got to the 3
to 6 months of your expenses into your savings account? Is that?
Well, you want to have 3 to 6 months saved. We wanted to have a savings account full of the amount of money that you would need to live for 3 to 6 months if you lost your job and lost all your money.
Right, expenses. 3 to 6 months of like your
to pay your rent, your utilities, enough for food. I mean, literally like you're as if you were just living for 3 to 6 months. So I think we got to like the 3-month point. And at that point, the car he was driving kept having problems. The air went out. You drove around in a car without air in the heat of the summer here for a whole summer. Just several things that were going wrong with it that we were ending up putting more money into it than we should be. And so we decided to start saving for you a car, which I think we had been doing all along, right?
Yeah.
So in doing that, we kind of, I guess we didn't pause our baby step 3. We were kind of just like, okay, well, we have 3 months worth of savings in here, so we're gonna use some of that, but also keep saving some of that for the car. Step 4 was going to be invest 15% of your household income into Roth IRAs and pre-tax retirement savings. Then step 5 is college funding. Step 6 is paying off your home early. And so we were kind of just like, well, I mean, right now at this point in our life, let's just kind of be where we are. So we had the money in savings, built up the amount of money. I think, what was your car? You got a Jetta. It was a
Volkswagen Jetta
2006 Jetta.
$11,000.
$11,000, that's what I thought I remembered too.
Paid for it with cash.
With cash, and the amazing part of that is that because the car had been gifted to you with your parents' permission, we were able to donate the car to a friend who needed a car.
I had a coworker that didn't care if it didn't have AC.
He just needed a car.
He just needed a clunker to get back and forth from work, and I literally was able to just sign the car over to him.
I think, or did you give it to him for like $100? Or?
No, like $1. Like I think it was
I don't remember.
You know, it was one of those. It felt good to be able to provide. And the thing is like, I thought it was on its last leg, but he drove it for another 2 years, I think. It was amazing to give back in that sense.
And at this point, we were making, I really don't know, I wanna say a total between the two of us of $45,000 a year. Because I think in grad school, like I was getting a stipend paid for work that I did in grad school, and it was like $15,000, I think. Maybe at the peak, I was making $18,000 a year. You were making, I think, $30,000 at your job or something like that. So it's probably around $45,000, $42,000 a year. We were able to save $11,000, and we still had money in our savings account. We didn't drain our savings account to buy that car. No. We kept it in.
And we were still hustling at that car dealership. I was like, what if I give you cash right now? And he was like, well, you know, I was able to talk him down, I think, a lot. And I remember we were so Dave-oriented or cash-oriented at the time. We went into
Costco.
We went to Costco, which is a discount wholesale store. Y'all know, like they're already.
I mean, they don't change their prices.
And Dave talks about like, you know, cash is king, and like the power of flashing your cash around will get somebody to, you know,
if they're trying to get you to finance.
If they're trying to get you to, blah blah blah. I walk in that B. We were looking for a new 32-inch TV or something like that with Christmas money. I had a pocket full of cash, and I found just a random employee, walked up to him, and TV's up there. I was like, I need help getting that down. And he like gets it down for me. He's in his vest, and I'm like, all right, now look, I'll give you this. And it was like $100 less than what this, and he's like, I can't do that.
He's like, you gotta pay at the register.
You gotta go to the register, sir. I think he thought I was trying to do like a drug deal or something under the scenes. Like, here, you take the money and I'll just take this and walk out. And I was like, no, shoot, I totally screwed that up. And I was so nervous too, walking in there. I was like, I'm not walking out of here without a TV less than $100 than what they said.
Because in the class, we were in the financial peace class at the time, and they were like, you just walk out. And a lot of times they'll call you back or say like, okay, well, we can make your deal work.
I was like, well, put the TV back then. I was gonna say you came home and you were like, I didn't get it or something. I was like, wait, what happened? But they had been so convincing of you pay, but it's not at a place like that. No, not at a
I mean, that's talking about going to a place where you're like trying to finance a $10,000 or something with financing and all kinds of stuff. So anyways, that was an interesting experience. That's a good story. I like that one. Obviously our rent was very low, but we were not stressing about money. Like we were able to, we didn't buy something if we didn't have the cash for it. I remember we gave each other, or we each got, that's maybe what the Mr. and Mrs. money was. So we had like our fun envelope that was between the two of us for like going out to dinner or whatever. But then each of us, I think Dave calls it blow money. We thought that just didn't really sound great. So we called it Mr. and Mrs. And so we would each give ourselves $10 a week for our blow money that we could spend. It's basically guilt-free money. You spend it on whatever the heck you want to spend it on. And so I would save mine until the end of the month, and I'd have $40 and I'd go get me a pedicure.
Man, yeah.
And I think you spent yours on...
I would do it every week with $10 and go to the gas station and get 4 Snickers bars. Because we would argue, and that's another
Brooks
point
and
that was another point of contention, and the benefit of this whole thing and going through it this way is the arguments that you realize you don't have in the number one, I think, cause of divorce right now is financial arguments in the country. But we even say this, or Dave says this in his book, it's not about the candy bar.
Yeah.
You know, you go home and you start arguing about the candy bar. Why'd you get a candy bar? We didn't have the money for the candy bar. Well, it's not about the candy bar. There's all that underlying, like, the side eyes and the
well, last time when you spend this and blah, blah, but when you have your designated, like this is your free money that you spend on whatever, then it didn't matter. Like if he spent it on candy bars, I'm like, too bad for you, I'm going to get my pedicure, you know? That's always been our mindset. We paid cash for his car, so up until 2016, we had 2 completely paid for cars. In the middle of all of it, we moved to Tallahassee. We started vlogging at that point, and we're doing it just for fun as a side thing. Weren't making money on it. I mean, I think we made $100 in like 6-9 months, something like that. I mean, it wasn't at all our job. Did all that with still doing envelopes. I think maybe at that point, we had gotten to where we were like, we can kind of manage in our head and use our debit card. So everything was on the debit card, the gas was on a credit card, but that was paid off every month, and everything was still, like, we still maintained it. We still didn't go over it. I would sit down with my checkbook, we would write it all out and make it work. So up until 2016, we had 0 debt at all, actually. We didn't even have a house. So we had been able to save up money for a house. Also, my parents were kind enough to save the rent money that we had paid them as if we were like kind of putting it in a savings account. They gave us some of that back. We used savings and that money to put a down payment on our first house that we bought. And it was a reasonable mortgage. We went by the Dave Ramsey, like, don't have a house.
15% of your total income?
Or 25% of your take-home pay is what your monthly payment should be. And I think ours was even a little bit less than 25% because we ended up getting a good deal on the house, plus with our down payment. We were kind of sticking to the same thing. I mean, we literally, we wouldn't buy anything if we didn't have the money in the bank. Like, there was no like, oh, it's on sale, let's go ahead and buy it now, and then we'll still just pay it off on the credit card next month. Like that didn't happen. We don't want this video to be forever long.
That was just kind of a backstory to get you to the next video of where we are now and what our plan is, because after pulling these envelopes out and getting back on this Dave Ramsey kick, and I guess you could say we were Dave-ish, is how he puts it. Even back in the day, even though we thought we were hardcore Dave and budgeting wise, we were still Dave-ish, because once we got to that one baby step, we kind of just started just mentally stepping off the
and we didn't necessarily, we kind of were 1 foot in and 1 foot out with like, we maintained our savings account, but we didn't ever get past, I don't think, 3 months in savings. We never got to the 6 months in savings because it wasn't, I don't know, we just didn't. And then we were occasionally using that money for, it was kind of our emergency fund and our 3 to 6 month savings all kind of mixed in one. So something would happen and we would use the money out of that savings. However, by the time we bought the house we're in now, which we'll get to all of that, we did have a ton of money in our savings account that we had been saving because we had started making more money on YouTube, still living on the amount that we were, as if we were making less money. But 2016 is basically where all of our life went to hell in a handbasket. I mean, it wasn't just our relationship. I think when one area starts to fall, they all kind of fall. When your finances start to fall, it affects your relationship, it affects your mental state, it affects all of it. It's also the year Brooks was born. So.
But it just goes to show you, if you're not like fully committed to that point, how fast it can fall.
Just a little preview of the future of what's coming. Where we are now is definitely not there. No. We do not have even 3 months saved in our savings account. We have a massive amount of debt that we have never had in our lives. So we just kind of want to talk about how we got there, why we got there, and share it as a way for us to kind of remember and realize that it doesn't need to happen again.
Yeah.
But also because I know a lot of you have said you're kind of going through a similar thing.
It's embarrassing.
Like, because I was like, well, why aren't we going to tell the amounts and all of that stuff?
The more I'm thinking about the next video, I'm like, God, this is embarrassing.
Like, are we sure we're going to tell them?
Like, we're in shock. We're like literally in shock.
Literally,
I'm embarrassed.
We sat down and added it up last night, and we're like,
it's embarrassing.
But it's all, we can turn it all around. I mean, I think, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh. Allie said, it's okay, Daddy. It's okay, Daddy.
All right, let's go. That was it.
You don't want to talk about anything else? You good?
No, you're good.
Okay. So we'll come back and we'll talk to y'all about all of that. Stay tuned. It's going to be okay. We have a plan now, right?
Mm-hmm. We need to call him.
I know. Let's call him. Let's get on his show and see what he says today.
Jesus.
Woo! I mean, the only other thing I was going to say is we are not here at all to make excuses. It's more kind of an explanation just because I like to know how did somebody get from here to there. And we did receive some bad advice along the way. And we were the ones that chose to take it. We could have chosen not to. So it's nobody's fault but our own, basically. No. But we'll kind of tell you about what we did wrong and how we got here.
It just is like, I didn't know until we started like talking about it and breaking all these back out how freaking
to think about where we could have been if we'd have stayed on the train of
like just dumb. Oh my gosh. Okay, bye.
We'll be back.